Okay, we're all weighed in and registered. It looks like the weather's going to cooperate for us at least until afternoon-ish. I got lucky on the 1800, just guessing what I was throwing on for weight. With Shelly sitting on it, it weighs 10,055 pounds, and they allow you 100 over, so we're golden there. And then this, they really, and it makes me guess, or makes me wonder about the 10,000 pounds on this. This is weighted exactly the same as I had it last year, down to the T, minus it might have a few extra less gallons of fuel in it, because last year I had the tank full. Last year I weighed like, I want to say I weighed like 12,050 pounds. I was just a tick over 12 if I remember right. Maybe it was 10,000 or 12,010 pounds. Either way, this year I'm 11,850. I was like, shit, if I'd have known that, I'd have brought 2 more suitcase weights. So, but because we have rain coming this afternoon, they're going to pull light to heavy so that they have the full track for the heavy classes, and then if need be, they can pull the light classes down under the grandstand. So they're going to start with the 4-wheel drives and stuff first and work their way down. So luckily I won't have to be waiting all day. And Shelly's, my class is first, and then Shelly's is right after me. So when I get done, I got to Skippy out here and get the drawbar put on her tractor and get her up there. So, but it's time to go find some breakfast before the driver's meeting. Okay, so I'm not gonna give you what everybody placed in every class, but at least to get you an idea of what's going on, I'm gonna try to at least give you what class is pulling. So when I get to the first tractor I'm going to video in a certain class, we'll let you know. But this is going to be the 35,000, what they refer to as a super heavyweight, which is all the big tractors. Well, not big, you're not going to see too many 4-wheel drives, but there are a couple. Here's the guy that I bought that snout off of to fix the corn head last year. Consulting work for these guys. That tractor right there is turned up. The one thing you notice about these newer tractors, they're good, and then they're flat on their face with no warning. There is no lugging like you get with an old mechanical motor. And this is the Wagner I was telling you about yesterday. This one's going to Rantoul. They're hauling it down there, jewels and all. They did it last time. I just had to modify the drive shaft on that for them Sunday, so they put new universals in it. Hopefully it doesn't fall apart on the track. Last year he walked it right out the end, so we'll see if he can do a repeat. This is the 22,000 heavyweight, I was right. They make big jumps in the heavyweight classes. This one will be down at Rantoul too. It goes to the same home as that Wagner. Okay, now we jumped up to the 18, or jumped down to the 18,000 farm stock. And I'm not getting every tractor, I'm just getting ones that are people I know or tractors that are cool, so. tractors will hang in like that, or you can just keep going and going and going until it ain't got no more. They just fall on their ass. They might have more power, they might be more efficient, but man, they just can't hang.
Next up is Nick Skarupa out of Baroda.
Making it through, if you get about another 15 feet from where this guy stopped, it lets go of the sled and you're good for another 30 foot. If you can't pull over, it'll stop you. They overwatered the track when we got here. It was every year they do that. Two-wheel drive 60 series is something you don't see every day, at least not around here.
Next up is Scott Totsky out of Bridgman.
Here's my boss's son, Kyle.
Next up is Al Jarvis out of Buchanan.
Suitcase weights on the front, and I think that tractor would be pretty good. That was a good hook right there. Another one you don't see very often around here is the 55 series two-wheel drive. We're into the 15,000 pound farm stock now, in case anybody's keeping track.
This is the 15,000 pound class of Monty out of Baroda.
I've known this kid since before he was old enough to pull garden tractors. And then he started off on garden tractors and now he's on the big tractors. If that don't make you feel old, I don't know what will. This one belongs to them guys that baled my straw, or bought straw off of me, I should say. Didn't bale mine, but most of the Fords that you see today will probably be belonging to them. I think they bring 7 or 8 up here. buddy Mark. Typical red tractor problems. He found out the other day his TA's out on the low side, so he doesn't have a downshift. When he was pulling it last year, he downshifted and the tractor stopped, and he thought it was something else, but it was apparently the TA getting weak, and apparently over the course of this last year, it went out. Going to be hell. I'm trying to figure out which way I want to go to try to get around it.
This is Matt Kreitzer out of Buchanan.
Everybody keeps going up that side, and right about, I probably can't show it on the camera, but right about where the rear wheels are on the sled, there's a hole, and the tractor can get through it. And then right where Matt spun out right there, there's already a set of holes, and as soon as he bounced in them holes, he spun out. And when the rear wheels on the tractor went down, was the same time the rear wheels in the sled fell in the hole, and it set the skid pan down, and everybody's spinning out right there. So I think I'm going to try to come up this other side of the track and see what happens.
We thank them for their ongoing. Our next driver is TJ Miller out of Buchanan.
now we're in the 12,000 farm stock. This is my class, and these are the tractors I get to run against.
This is Bill Donner out of Three Oaks.
See what she does. Both her and the tractor. It'll be the tractor's first time on the track. I think Shelly's actually pulled a big tractor one other time before, but we're going to call this her first time because the last time was not nearly at a pull like this. Be the last hook in the 12,000. Shelly's class is up next.
All I'm hearing is really bad excuses.
Yeah. That's all I got. I did like a kid to pull down, you know, whatever.
Obviously. We got a few tractors to go before we get to her though. What was that? I don't know. Hopefully nothing bad, because if it's bad, I'm the one that's got to fix
That's
it.
Kyle Dargis. He gets to start over. He had not made it 75 feet, so he can actually start over.
Oh yeah. I almost put it on the fender for him. I figured I'd just give him all sorts of shits and giggles, but last time I tried that fender, or on a different tractor, the fender started rattling and the camera fell off, so. Okay, I told her to pull in second, so we'll see what she does.
on, Shelly, flags are green. A little easier on the takeoff. I told her it's Dad's tractor. If she breaks it, she's got to explain it to him. She must have got scared when the front end came up. Oh well, it happens to everybody on their first pull. Anybody that's never been on a tractor when the front end came up like that, it's a feeling. Okay, we'll get Ron real quick, and this will probably be the last one in this class I'm going to do. Unfortunately, they don't have a heavyweight antique class, so he's stuck in this 10,000 farm stock with that poor old R. He's like 1,500 pounds light. But he likes pulling it because it's cool.
should look familiar to everybody. This is the one that I put the rear end all back together in earlier this spring. I was impressed they got old Tim to drive it. This is his favorite tractor. I figured Kyle would be the one driving it. But Tim there, he was a, well, he's a Detroit transplant. He lived in Detroit until I think, when he say they moved here when he was 12. Started working on farms, bought his own farm in 1956, I think is when he said. Then he got drafted into the Army right at the beginning of Vietnam, and was a drill instructor at Fort Hood. He was a drill instructor and a tank commander on an M60A2 dozer tank. And then he got out of the Army, came back and farmed and raised hogs until the early 2000s when the hog market crashed, and then my boss took over. He's a hoot. He'll talk your ear off for days if you let him. Slowed down first, and then he caught this hump and it set the skid plate down. That's what's catching everybody. Oh, I think he's going to regret picking that side. That's where the hump is the worst.
Okay, this is probably the last one we're watching for the day. Then I'm gonna go get loaded up, start moving tractors home before it starts raining. This is my buddy Andy. On a very, very, very stock Farmall 560. Just took it off the planter this morning. This is a 6,000 or 7,000 farm stock, 6,000, 6,000 farm stock, I think. That sounds right, maybe. They just got done with the 8, so this gotta be the 6. I don't think there's a 7. Alright, I'm going to get the 1800 out of here first, come back for the 19. And that's getting dropped at my house. And when I get everything under cover and out of the weather, we'll wrap this video up. Okay, so quick wrap up. I'll try to keep it quick. I guess for starters, I did end up having to turn this ordeal into a 2-load trip. I got everything on there because for some reason I was under the impression that trailer was rated for 24,000 plus 25% over on short trips, so I figured I was good. Yeah, no, it's that trailer's rated for 21,000 plus 25% over, and the trailer weighs 7. So yeah, I ended up just making it into 2 trips after I got it loaded and signed off with you guys and worked all that out, and I ended up unloading, putting the T back on. I hauled the T up last night and then took the 18 up this morning, which is how it all ended up working out. But all in all, other than the track was terrible. I mean, there's no other way to, that track was terrible. I know it. I don't know how well I got it, how well it would have showed up on camera, but there was more waves in that thing than the Pacific Ocean during a typhoon, and they were big. And it probably would have been a good track had they not watered it at the beginning of the day and just let it lay the way it was. Of course, they do that every year. They water the shit out of it at the beginning rather than just leaving it, because when that track's dry, it pulls excellent. That is the best dry track ever. Just right on the verge where you start making a little bit of dust. That's when that track just hooks and bites and you don't end up with a pile in front of the skid plate. Awesome track when it's dry, but they ran 5 passes with the water wagon over it this morning first thing, and that turned it into a hog waller. And they pulled 35,000 down to 10,000 before lunch, and then after lunch, or at lunch, they switched to antiques and garden tractors. They pulled antiques and garden tractors and then jumped back on the 8,000 farm stock and pulled the 8 and the 6 there at the tail end. And there, about the time they started the 8,000 pound farm stock class, was about the time the track was finally getting dry enough to start making a little bit of dust, at least outside the grandstand. And at that point, it was finally starting to turn into a halfway decent track. If the sun had been out, it would have been an awesome track, probably about the time that me and Shelly pulled, but it was too wet. But that being said, the T and the 18 didn't do that bad. I mean, the frustrating part with the T, she has a lot more to give. If you saw it there on the video, I got down, and when the front end came up, I throttled way back, hoping to set the front end down. And basically, when I hit the clutch, I was well under half throttle and second under. And she was far from stalling out. I just couldn't get the front end to set back down so I could pick the sled back up and get more draft back on the tractor. And that's the frustrating part about that thing, is the minute your front end comes up, you're basically done. She's got power to spare. She's got plenty more to give. I just can't keep the front end down to keep the tractor drafting off the sled. And I can't put weight where I need it. I might have done better if I'd have left the duals off and hung a bunch of weight on the nose. I don't know. I also would have been... I wish on the tee I could at least one time get lucky and pull first hook. Because if I could pull first hook, I would make my first pass in third to see what she would do. Because I think she's got enough ass to run in third. I think if I kept it in third direct and third under, I would stay under the 6 mile an hour speed limit and be okay. And I think she's got enough power to do it. I just don't want to waste a hook if I only get one shot at it. And then if I could make my first pass on a first hook in third, try it, see what it does, and then if it doesn't do worth a shit, come back and pull in second. That's the worst part about that, is I don't take it to enough pulls to be able to play with it enough to figure out what its capabilities are. And I know for damn sure I need more weight on the nose. If I could hang about another 400 pounds on the nose, we'd probably be a completely different ball game. And what I need to do, what I need to remember to do, what I was going to do for this year and completely forgot to the last minute, in which point it was too late, was get different drawbars made, both for this and for the tee. That, and I said this last year and I completely spaced it, so this year I'm going to have to get it done this winter, so it's done in plenty of time. But get different drawbars made that move your hook point, and basically we'd have enough room with I think you need to have a 3 or a 4 inch hole. So basically, instead of hooking back here, the hook would basically drop in. If I could get snug right up against the drawbar cradle, the hook would basically drop in right here. And that extra, I don't know, from here to here is probably what, 4.5, 5 inches closer to the rear of the tractor, would be a huge deal as far as keeping, or as far as helping to balance the tractor, because that little 5 inches is a fairly big deal, especially on the tee. So I really want to do that before I get too carried away. And the other thing I thought about doing, because I know I have plenty of power, would possibly be to weight it up and pull in the 15,000 pound class, which up there, if they got two stupid rules. They won't let you pull 2 drivers on one tractor in the same class, and they won't let you take one tractor and jump classes with it by adding weight. You get one tractor, one hook. That's all you get. And it would be nice if they let you jump classes so that I could take more weight up there, pull in the 12, throw a bunch of weight on, and then pull in the 15. Because I'd be curious to see how well she'd do in the 15,000 pound class, where I could basically, I have enough room to play with that I could take that entire stack of weights. I would probably even take that base weight, or take the suitcase weight bracket off the 55 so I can get all 11, because the stock Oliver weight bracket will only hold 8 unless you have the extensions, which are not easy to come by. Unless I made some, could make some. If I made some, you could hang as many weights out there in the nose as you wanted, but hang all 1,100 pounds of weights on the nose, and then I would still have enough room to hang more weight on the rear axle. And then I'd just be curious to know how competitive she would be in the 15,000 pound class, because she's got plenty of horsepower for the 12. But that's enough about the tee. Let's talk about the 1800, because she just kind of just came way out of left field. Like, where the hell did that come from? And that was Shelly's first, that was her first time ever pulling a full-size tractor. I thought she had pulled a white 270 once before at a little tractor show pull, but she'd never, the only thing she's pulled before this was a couple garden tractors. That was it. So this was her very first hook. This was both their very first hook ever. In a farm stock class. She's never pulled a full-size tractor before, so she didn't do too bad at all. she just got a little squirmy there at the end when the front end started to bobble, and she stabbed the clutch because she wasn't watching the flagger. I told her, I said, watch the flagger, don't stop until the flagger waves you red. And she got a little scared there, and she just stomped it, and that was all she wrote. But I mean, I'm excited to go back and actually watch the video and see what she did, because if I remember, I mean, I was probably just as hyped up as she was watching them both. I was probably having more fun watching these two pull than I had making my pass, just because of how good it was going. And I don't think she was hardly slipping a tire yet when she stabbed the clutch. I think the front end had just started to come up. And I bet if she hadn't hit that clutch, she'd have probably been good for another 10, 15 feet, which probably would have jumped her another couple places. But she finished 9th out of 17, which in a class like that, where you got tractors that should be running in an open class and should be nowhere near a farm class, she didn't do too bad at all. She beat out... There was a guy, I didn't get it on video because he literally pulled right before her, and I was back talking to Shelly when he pulled. Had an 1800A with a Perkins tub and a turbo, a 354T out of a 2105 that was turned up. Pulled right ahead of her, and she smoked him by 22 feet. Like, without even trying. This thing wasn't even breathing hard yet. And that guy is a very competitive puller. He used to have a souped up 2255 he pulled in the open class. He had an 88. I heard he sold it. He might still have it because somebody told me he pulled it last week at Cass. Or whenever, 2 weeks ago at Cass, whenever the Cass pull was. He has a 88 with a 354 turbo in it. And now apparently he's running this 1800 with a 354 turbo in it. Very, very competitive, and he does not like getting beat, especially by tractors that he should outclass. And like I say, she smoked him by like 22 or 23 feet. It was great. And she had all the old time hardcore pullers were walking up to her after the class, telling her good job and stuff, and she was all gooped up about. I think she had a good time. So the 018 did good. I told Shelly we'll have to try to get it to a few more pulls next year for her, because I think you get Shelly some more seat time so she gets used to how everything feels when you're hooked up to the sled, and because like I said, tractor pulling is completely different than working a tractor in a field. Unless you've done it, it's hard to explain, but the way the whole tractor feels while it's pulling a sled is nothing like you will ever experience pulling in a field. The way it pulls on the rear end and the way the front end comes, it's not the same feeling. And unless especially with her not having much experience running equipment to begin with, and then this being her first hook, and she did pretty good. She did really good. She dumped the clutch a little bit there on the takeoff, because she wasn't. Need to get her to work on paying attention to the flaggers, because both flaggers were there with the green flags out, and I'm looking at the flaggers and I'm looking at her, and she's looking down the track, and I figured, okay, first I thought, okay, maybe the flagger all the way down the other end of the track was still red, and I turned around and it's like, no, they're both green. And I look, and she's just staring down the track in no man's land, so I said, come on, and she finally took off, and when she did, she dumped the clutch. But it's just something that takes time, and you need to make more passes and get some experience doing it, and the more experience you get, the better you get. So, but the 18, she is a tank. There was a lot of tractors in that class that way outclassed the old girl. Like I say, if Shelly would have just stayed on it and not and let it do its thing, I think I bet she would have got at least two more. I bet she would have jumped up at least two more places, if not more. It's hard to tell how much further it would have went, but I don't think it was hardly, like I say, I haven't watched the video yet, but I don't think it was hardly slipping a tire yet when she did that. And it was obviously a good tractor to start her out on, because the way we got it set up right now with the duals and the weights on the front, it is balanced damn near perfect, because the front end never really, I think in the end it might have been off the ground. Yeah, it was just starting to bobble. and it stayed. She never even turned the wheel, never had to touch the brake. She picked the line, it stayed right on the line. It was fun to watch her pull this thing. And I'm sure old Max, the guy that bought it new, I'm sure he was probably standing there running down the ground behind her, pushing as hard as he could. If he could have seen her pull this thing, I bet he would have been grinning ear to ear. The old girl did good. Shelly did good. The 18 did good. I was proud of this one. So we'll have to get her to some more pulls and get her some more seat time, and I think we got a competitor out of this one. So anyhow, and Shelly got 9th out of 17, and I got 13th out of 19. And like I say, both classes have tractors that should be running in a hot farm class. They have no business running in farm stock classes, but they do. And I have no problem with guys building tractors like that. They're cool. They're fun to watch pull. I just wish that they would go into their own class and let the people that just want to take a tractor that is a show pony or comes straight out of the field and just go up there and feel like you have a chance. Because when you go up there and you see a 4010 that's turbocharged and is coming off the line, and before it's even on the governor, it's sitting there bouncing off the governor the whole time because the spring's wound so tight, and then they get down to the end and they grab the throttle to get the wheel speed up once they're slipping enough to know that they're not going to come to that 6 mile an hour mark. It's just I wish they would stay in their own class and let the people that just want to pull farm stock, but that's just the way tractor pulling is. If you ain't cheating, you ain't winning. So, but what can you do? So anyhow, I shouldn't have been talking for 15 minutes, but anyhow, I guess that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.